Hey y'all, welcome to the Honesty Circle, the safe space to discuss growing in adulthood, mental health, faith, and all the things in between. It's your host, Sierra Elise, and I hope you're taking care of not only your mental and spiritual, but your emotional and physical health so you can be your best self this week. Hey y'all, welcome back to the episode of The Honesty Circle. It's me, your host, Sierra Elise. I'm in a good mood today, and I hope you guys are too. Now, if you would have asked me that probably, let me say like a few days ago, don't think I would have been okay, but we are here. We are thriving. I've been super busy with work the past few weekends, and I have nothing this weekend, thank God, but then the following weekend I have another work event. But we're doing good and we're on top of it, and I haven't missed an episode yet. And yeah. So today's episode in the Honesty Circle, we will be talking about building confidence. Now this is an interesting topic because I feel like some people see me and they're just think, oh, Sierra is just super confident, that I've never struggled with my confidence, and that I actually never put work in to be the confident version of this almost 25-year-old self that I am. Now, I will say that it took some work. Like, I didn't just come out the womb this confident. Now, there are certain areas that I was super confident in coming out the womb. However, I wouldn't say I was my most confident self. I think I've just grown and developed and been very intentional about getting to this version of myself. So I just want to talk to you through what I've gone through to build my confidence, what I've also seen other people go through to build their confidence. And yeah, I just want everyone to be their most confident self. Like, I just think that now that we're entering adulthood, this is the perfect time to love yourself, and not just love yourself, but, just be your best. I don't know, be confident. So I kind of want to talk through first, what is confidence? And I think some people will misuse confidence and what the definition is and what it actually looks like. So confidence is truly just trust in something. Now, when it pertains to yourself, that's confidence in you and your abilities. So it's just important to have that level of confidence, and specifically when it comes to yourself, because you are the only you. You only have you. Not you only have you, but there is only one you. That's what I'm trying to say. There's only one you in this world. And so you need to show up confident so that way you can fully showcase your skills to the world and stand on your skills and stand on your strengths, stand on what you know that you are good at. And yeah, it's just super important to know, not just know your skills, because I think it's different to know who you are, know your skills, know your abilities, but it's another one to trust them. And it's another one to listen to them. And it's another one to being able to bring them to the table, because that's how much you believe in yourself. So what isn't self-confidence? Because I think sometimes people always think that when you talk about self-confidence, you're only talking about your looks. Because that's what people think about a lot of the time. It's I'm this most confident version of myself. I'm pretty, or, just I don't know how to describe it, but I think sometimes it just gets misused and it just only gets talked about in the way of looks and not genuinely about your abilities and who you are as a person. There's more to you than your looks. And are you going to be confident in that? You can be confident in your looks, because I think I've, not to be funny, but I've always been pretty confident in my looks, right? So people would think that, oh, Sierra's confident. No, but there's other areas that I didn't truly believe in myself and my abilities. So those areas I didn't have confidence. And so I'm trying to think what when I was kind of thinking through this episode of how I've grown in my confidence. I started to think back when I wasn't my most confident self. And I would say it really started, I want to say middle school, middle school, high school-ish. I think more high school than it was middle school. Because I think honestly, like elementary and early middle, like you couldn't tell me nothing like good grades, like, had good friends. I knew what I was good at. I did gymnastics, all the things. And even though I wasn't the best at gymnastics, I really wasn't. But, I did what I knew I was good at and I stuck with that and I was good in that. But I think it really started to change when like I got my sports injury. So I hurt my back and they never really said what was wrong with it, but I think I just couldn't take the pressures of gymnastics on my back. So I was struggling when I no longer was doing gymnastics, when it was like, that's what I love to do. It was kind of like, okay, what else do I have to me? And I think that's when I most started to like see a shaking in my confidence, just because I think I felt like my back was failing me. So I wasn't confident in like my body. And I wouldn't say like my physical looks, but my body's ability to do the skills that I was trying to do, because the pain that it caused, right? So while going through that, I took like a pause from gymnastics. And I think that obviously that was the best thing for my back and for myself too, because I think that allowed me to explore other areas of who I was and learn more about myself. So that's kind of when I stopped gymnastics. I then moved into being a cheerleader. And senior year was just amazing, I will say. Right. So I think my confidence was really high. Like, I get my license, you can drive, you got good friends. I loved cheering specifically because I like to tumble and I'm loud. Like literally I'm just super, super loud. I don't know. I didn't think it just fit me perfectly. I don't know why I didn't do that earlier, but it's fine. And so I think finding some level of like identity in something that I was good at, because I was good at cheering, that helped boost my confidence. Like, oh, I found something else that I'm good at. And so after that, college, we get to college, and this is when I talk about this in the imposter syndrome episode. Boy, that confidence and the intelligence, like straight trash. Like it was not good. I did not trust myself. I didn't trust that I was good at anything. Like I wasn't. Specifically, I remember my freshman year. I don't remember what semester it was. I just remember this class. And y'all, I'd worked so hard in this class. Like I was the only one that was really active in the group discussions. And I also knew I was like doing the readings. And I was going to do my papers because it was a triple AD class. And it was like for African American and diaspora. And it was called something civil rights. So I was looking at like civil rights books. And I kept getting C's on every single paper that I wrote. Y'all, when I mean a C, like I mean every paper. And I'm going to the teacher like, ma'am, I'm working so hard. Like, what can I do? Like, what's not clicking? What am I not doing in my papers? And it took so much work. And I'll never forget that I was super, super confident in a paper that I submitted in that class. And I got another C, but she said got better, which I don't know how I got a C if it was getting better, like whatever. Like this give me like a B minus or a C, like C plus something. No, I got a C plus. That's what it was, a C plus. And I'm like, yo, I don't want to C in this class because I've worked too hard in this class to get a C. Although I had many other C's in college, but that's beside the point. But I genuinely was not confident in my ability to be a good writer and to be able to fully develop my thoughts in writing. Really started in that class specifically because that was my freshman year. And I mean, if you think about it, like, why would I be confident? I was not performing well. I think what really helped was I put so much effort into like my writing, and I was getting help, and I was going to the writing center. And even though I did get a B in the class, thank God. But although I wasn't performing better on the actual grade, my confidence in my writing got better because I was being intentional on working on it. Right? I don't know if that makes sense, but point is, although the outward kind of like, although my grade didn't change by much, I was getting more confident because of how much work I was putting in to get better. And so I think confidence doesn't always come from external factors. It comes from within. And I think that's what that, when I thought about that situation, I'm like, yo, like that really helped me. And although I was not like, still, like I said, wasn't performing, was not getting A's, was not being the best, but I was confident in my ability that I was getting better. And I was like, no, I can, write well and, not only just write well, but also show my thoughts that I have in my head and things that I speak in class and being able to put it in writing form. So that's like what I think about the most when I was like not most confident. But like I said, I still struggle with my confidence on my intelligence all through college. Like that wasn't something I have talked about that before. So I didn't want to dive too deep in that, but I wanted to share a specific example in which it took time to develop that confidence. But another thing that I would say in college, another area, so it wasn't just my intelligence, but it was also my ability to trust my thoughts, which sounds crazy, right? Like, how did I not trust the thoughts that are in my own head? I didn't trust them because my brain had failed me too many times, if that makes sense, right? Like my brain was failing me in my intelligence. My brain sometimes would fail me on my like judgment of people. And I didn't trust that voice in my head where it was like, oh, that was a good idea or that was stupid. I would just go with the flow. And so I think that sometimes like messed up how I was able to trust my thoughts. Now, how did I get better with that? Truly, I think it was when I started to work on myself, like when I started to be more self-aware and learning myself and learning what I liked and who I was. And then I was able to trust those thoughts that were coming my way about like situations or people. Because first I learned me and I learned what was good for me and what wasn't good for me. I don't know if that makes sense, but I hope it does. So I think even though confidence can be seen on the outside, it's a lot of times a lot of internal work that still has to take place for you to be confident. And like confidence can't be given from other people either. Like I wasn't going to be more confident because my teacher gave me an A, right? She could have gave me an A and I still wasn't confident in that paper. Regardless, that the external factors didn't play any role on my belief and my trust with myself, right? It's internal. And now that people can't aid in your confidence and like boosting you up and stuff like that. But I think I've noticed that when it comes to like external factors boosting you up, it only lasts for a short period of time, right? So me getting that C plus instead of a C, like that only lasted for a short period of time, but I still had to maintain my personal trust and my personal belief in self, regardless of the A on the paper, regardless of, situation not going the way that I thought. I have to trust those thoughts within myself. I have to trust what it is I know and about me and what I can bring to the table. So I think that's something that's important to think about too when you're thinking about your confidence. I want you guys to, when we're thinking about this too, remember that it's also situational. Like you could have confidence in one situation and then not have confidence in a different situation. And in order to know the areas that you need to grow your confidence in, you need to be receptive to those times that the confidence isn't there, right? So take account of those moments that your confidence is not the best, right? Like in this situation, I know that I'm not confident. So how can you grow that confidence in that area, right? If you are not locking the confidence in your looks, then you'll need to affirm that you look beautiful every single day, right? Affirm those areas in yourself that are lacking. So I hope that, shares some things there. I think first too, when you're thinking about self-confidence, where you're doing some reflection about yourself in areas that you might not be the most confident in, make sure that you also know that you love yourself and like actually believe. You can't believe in your abilities if you don't love yourself. You want to know why? Think about this. Think about this. So how could I believe that, what's an example? Let me think of an example. How could I believe that I can go out and speak in front of a group of people if I don't love what it is, like my story is, or what it is, like my voice or something like that? I have to love myself to be able to then trust what it is within. It has to start with love. It has to start with love. Love yourself, your abilities, loving what you bring to the table, and knowing that what you bring to the table is unique. What you have within you, all that encompasses who you are. You are the one you in this earth. You are the one you that can do those things. Someone else can do it the same way, but they will never do it like you do. So hold on to that, and remind yourself of that you are valuable and you bring value to every single space that you walk in. Even if it's something that you might not be the most knowledgeable about, you're bringing something to the table. And I think that's where that self-confidence comes in, because it's knowing that I might not be the best, and it's not even a comparison too, right? I'm not comparing myself to the other person. I'm not saying that I'm better than you. I'm not saying that I'm worse than you, but I'm saying that I am me, and I'm confident, and I'm standing on me, regardless of what anyone else has to say about it. I'm being me, and I trust me, and I love me. And so just some tips that are going to help you kind of when you're thinking about how you can be your most confident self. So one is, like I said, kind of figuring out what those areas are that you lack in confidence. So that's the first thing. First, we got to be self-aware, right? Let's be aware of where we need work. Okay. Then once we know where we need the work, I also want to go a little deeper too, where it's not just like, okay, I'm not confident in like my looks, right? I don't want you for step 2, I don't want you to go into fixer mode just yet. I want you to continue to analyze and figure out what about it are you not confident in. So if you're thinking about your intellect, right? Like for me, my intelligence, I was struggling with that. I'm no longer, not as much, but like my intellect, right? So what areas of my intelligence, because I know I'm smart, what areas do I think that I'm not smart in? Okay, my writing, struggles with I had in the past with like reading comprehension when I was in elementary school. Like those are specific areas. So we're not just thinking about look umbrella, then look situational, look deeper and find that pinpoint exact thing that it is that you're lacking in confidence, right? And then ask yourself why you lack that confidence. Now that is going to take some deep reflecting, some journaling, maybe even talking to a therapist. That might take a little work. These are not things that you can just do overnight. Like confidence doesn't come overnight. These are things that take work, but you have to know that it only comes if you're going to be intentional and putting the work in, right? Like if you want to be the most confident version of yourself, let's work on it. Let's do the work that it takes, and be consistent in the work so that way you can be that version of yourself. So like I said, number 1, umbrella term, what is the overarching thing that you are lacking confidence in? Number 2, pinpointing that specific area. 3, asking why, and keep asking why until you're satisfied with the answer, or not satisfied until you feel that you've gotten to the root of it, the root of that insecurity or that lack of trust within yourself. Okay. Now, the 4th one is we're going to finally put the steps in of like, okay, how can I pour back into that empty tank? Because I think when you think about it, right, when you don't trust in yourself, and if you're listening to this, you probably don't see my little hands here doing all the motions, but if you're watching, you can see my little tank that I'm trying to draw here in the air. But so like, imagine it's like a tank that you have right here, right? The areas that you have the confidence in, all the tank is all the way high, like the battery power of the tank, whatever is high. The one that is not confidence is lower, right? Let's figure out, and I think when you're thinking about the why, figure out how low it actually is, because is it just a low thing, something that's slightly low, or is it something that's like empty, right? Because I think empty, you have to work from the ground up. But if it's just like slightly, we're we're like 20-ish%, here. Let's figure out how we can grow that up. And so when you're thinking about how we can pour back into, we're going to pour, affirmations, pouring. I think it also depends on what area that you are feeling not confident in. It's depending on how you're going to tackle it. But I mean, one way is like affirming yourself. One way is maybe it's something that you think you need to change within yourself, because that's also okay. I think part of this understanding why is maybe it's something that you need to change. Like, I'm not confident sometimes about my cleaning abilities. I'm a little messy sometimes, right? But that's going to take work on me making the choice to clean. And that's how I want to pour my tank back up on that example. So that's a short example, but you get my point, is that it might be affirmations. It might be something that needs to be changed. It might be learning more about yourself, and it might be an area that you don't love yourself in. So how can you figure out a way to not negative self-talk about those areas? How can we pour, not just affirming it, but changing the negative self-talk to a more neutral self-talk, and then moving to a positive self-talk in those areas that you feel that you are lacking in. And I think that's going to be a constant thing too. So it's like, that's the last step that I would say, but kind of take note on take inventory of those areas, right? So after working on that thing for maybe a month, and you're continuously doing the things to pour back into yourself so you can feel confident in that area, right? Take account at the end of the month of like, okay, let's pulse check, like, okay, where are we at? Are we more confident in it? Are we struggling? Do we need to rework some things? Am I affirming myself and that I need to maybe switch up what I'm saying? It takes some pulse checks on how you are kind of performing in that. So those are my kind of tips on how to help you build your confidence. I want you guys to be your most confident version of yourself. That's the point of the honesty circle. Not just confident, but your best self. Like, I want y'all to be the best version of yourself. And that's what, like I said last episode, that's what the honesty circle is for, is to help us as soon to be grown adults. We're just young adults right now. We're just young adults. But if whoever you are listening to this episode, know that you're not alone. Something that you might be struggling in confidence might be something that someone else is struggling in confidence, or something that someone has kind of overcame in their confidence. So like, talk about it in the comments, right? Like, comment below on YouTube, definitely on Instagram, any of those things, right? In the DMs, whatever it is, make sure that you are not alone in the conversations. So join us. That's the end of today's episode. C's 2 cents for this week is I want you to reflect on that area that you are not the most confident in. And I want you to find quotes and find scriptures that really help you encourage yourself in that specific thing. So something, I kind of want to give my example on what that would look like. So something that I haven't been the most confident in is gaining weight in the past like 2 to 3 years. Well, I'm confident in my face because face card never declines. When it comes to the body, sometimes you have those days, or I have my days where, how can I say it? I'm looking a little larger than I would like, right? But part of it is just growing into my adult woman body. But some scriptures that I have that I could use to combat that is Genesis 1 verse 27, where it talks about how we are created into God's image. And so would I call God ugly? Would I call God some of the stuff fat that I call myself sometimes? Would I call God like, look at that roll that you got on your side? Probably not. God is a spirit. Yes, we know, but you get my point. Like, would you say that to Jesus? If he was in your face in your living room and you were looking at him, would you say that things to him? You wouldn't. So don't say those things to yourself. And that's me talking to myself, okay? Another one is Romans 8:29, which is almost 8:28, but 29 is also good. And it talks about how we are predestined and formed in the image of his son. So very similar to like, we are made in Jesus's image. So why am I talking bad about my own body if I'm made in his image? Why would I do that? So those are what I'm going to use this week. I'm actually going to be making sticky notes and putting them in my bathroom this week. So that way I can keep that top of mind that I'm made in God's image. And so every time I look in the mirror, I am not with the negative self-talk when I am in the mirror getting ready in the morning, whatever time of the day it is. We're not doing that. Okay. So that's how I'm going to actively work to contradict those negativity and self-doubt. So that way I can be confident in this one body that I have. Okay. So you can take my advice and join the finding scripture and quotes that help you lift your spirits about whatever area it is. You can take my advice or not. That is just my 2 cents. Thank you guys so much for watching this week's episode of the Honesty Circle. I really hope that you took something from this episode. And if you did, please feel free to share with a friend, like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, but make sure you are following our Instagram at the Honesty Circle with an underscore at the end to stay updated on Circle News. Thanks again so much for listening, y'all, to this week's episode, and go conquer your week and be confident in yourself. Bye, y'all.